Hello everybody and welcome to episode 5 of Trials and Trebuchets. I am your Dungeon Master Luke, and joining me, as always, is...
Greetings, my name is Ben, and I will be playing Winsler Wallaby, the whimsical little gnome wizard who is now level 3 with his trusty companion Mr. Wiggles, controlled by my friend Luke here.
Hola, my name is Kharla, and I am playing Integrity Idleberry, level 3 tiefling rogue, red-haired and slightly less mysterious.
Guten Tag, my name is Sarah, and I'm playing Mira Marchand, a now level 3 half-elf bard who is the most sociable person ever to be in a book club and be a band geek.
Last time on Trials and Trebuchets, our trio entered the final trial of the Sunken Hatch located through the collapsed eastern archway. Inside, they found 3 urns containing a rotten heart, a fine green powder, and a black stone talisman. After following the handy draconic instructions, Integrity bit into the heart, Winsler tasted some psychedelic powder, and Mira received an ominous vision. The students then followed a tiny tunnel to a dark cavern containing the remains of a once mighty snake, with a 4-inch spherical socket in its skull. The lowly Teb, discovering the ruse surrounding his orb, said his goodbyes to the party as he went off in search of Digger to set things right. Before the adventure concluded, however, the team was made official by the head of enchantment, Professor Underbow, who also gave these rascals detention at the research archive. And now we find ourselves in kind of like a metagame space.
We're like the Goonies or something.
Yeah. So you guys leveled up to level 3 between last session and this session. I guess we should go around the horn and you guys can talk about what you got for leveling up and kind of just like what you already had in your general class, because we didn't really ever address that. We kind of had a bit of a cold open. So Winsler, how about you first? Yeah, how about you tell us, first of all, you're a wizard, level 3, conjuration. What does conjuration wizard even get, period, before level 3?
Before level 3?
Yeah.
Let's see. The only really notable thing about this before level 3 is that basically I used it probably in episode 3, I think, where I can just create an inanimate object in my hand or on the ground in an unoccupied space within 10 feet, and then I can just make an object that's no longer than 3 feet on one side and weigh no more than 10 pounds. It's visibly magical to basically everyone who can see it.
Yeah.
And then it vanishes after 1 hour if I use the feature again, or if it deals or takes damage.
Okay, yeah, that's what you used, I think it was episode 2, to steal Tab's orb. And now that you're level 3, what spells did you choose? Because you got 2 new spells and some second level spell slots.
Yeah, I got 2 new spells. Both of them are level 2. One of them is Enlarge Reduce, probably one of my favorites. Very, very fun to use. And then I also got Dragon Breath, specifically for Mr. Wiggles.
So that you could have a fire or acid breathing.
So if need be, I will enchant him with Dragon Breath, and then he'll be able to breathe whatever element I so choose. And then hopefully at some point I'll be able to yeet him into battle so he can just use his mighty new powers.
He'll be Jotun.
He'll be Jotun real hard.
Gosh. Okay. Thank you very much. Mira. No, you're not Mira in this moment. Sorry. Sarah, what did Mira get when she leveled up? What did Mira already have?
So Mira, as a bard, initially, she had some spells. She has Song of Rest, so if you're doing a short rest and you do a little ditty, they get an extra d6. She has Bardic Inspiration, so you can give your friend a d6 to add to a roll. Now that she's chosen
very heavily utilized feature in the first section of this podcast.
Well, one day. She also had some spells that she's going to use for fighting that she hasn't gotten to use yet, and she was going to use one on the snake, but alas.
It was just a snake.
It was just a little snake boy. So now she has chosen a bard college. That's kind of where she's going to specialize in, so being the child of a librarian, she chose the College of Lore.
Oh, that's fun.
So she gets to double her proficiency on certain skills. She can use her Bardic Inspiration now to subtract something from an enemy roll. And she gets a couple more spells.
What spells did you choose?
So I chose Hold Person and Suggestion, both level 2.
Ooh, that's wonderful. Ooh. And finally, integrity. Why? You're on integrity right now. Same way Sarah's not Mira. Kharla, you are now a 3rd level rogue. Notedly, not a magic class, traditionally, rogues. But what have you done here so that you were granted an entrance to this prestigious magical academy?
Well, I didn't have any good background with magic due to tragedy in my childhood days.
You make it sound way more dramatic than it actually is.
No, there was like this really rude magic person who hurt my friend. So I was like, is magic bad or is magic good?
Hey, don't give away your backstory in that little blurb.
Well, you asked me.
I didn't ask. I just said you made it sound more mysterious.
Okay,
what did you get for your level up? What did you already have and what did you get?
Before I leveled up, I had, I already had thaumaturgy. I always had that cantrip.
That's just because you're a tiefling.
I am a tiefling. I absolutely love using that. And I am a rogue, so I can sneak attack and double the damage on people.
Not necessarily double the damage, but just get extra damage. Sorry.
Extra damage. If, I had the advantage on them.
So now that you're level 3, you got to choose your roguish archetype, which I feel like is fairly obvious for what you chose.
Yes, I did, and I am a prankster,
Arcane trickster.
arcane trickster, and I got a couple of spells from that and a couple of cantrips. So now I can do dancing lights, mage hand, and shape water, and I also can disguise myself. I can make silent images and do tensor floating disc.
Our team name should just be the Mage Hand Squad.
Yeah, all of you guys have mage hands.
Let's all just like have a, that thing where you all put your hand in and you're like 1, 2, 3, go for your cheers.
Yeah.
We just do that, but with our mage hands. That's our
It's just a high five from
secret
across
chant.
the room.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You guys have normal mage hands. Meanwhile, integrity has the special feature of being able to turn it invisible.
Whoa.
So
A high five you can't even see.
yeah, that's cool, I guess. Please, I don't know. If you want to use it, you can use it, whatever. It's not my character.
Exactly.
And now that we've gotten that out of the way, so this is kind of like the downtime session, because in the last session you were told you have detention at the archive next Sunday. So you had an entire week of classes before detention occurred. So who would like to go first for like just a slice of life from your week at school?
I can start.
Winsler, I'm so glad you volunteered.
I completely blanked there. I don't know what happened.
Okay, so Winsler, you are in your dormitory. You are alone, as in your roommate isn't. Your roommate Kurt isn't here at the moment.
Gosh
He's
dang
made
Kurt.
a giant mess on his
That's
workbench.
not very
but
courteous of him.
No, it's not.
It's the afternoon, so classes are over, but he's still out somewhere. You don't know. You don't keep track of this guy. His bench is a mess. You're just sitting on your bed with Mr. Wiggles, giving him tummy rubs.
Yeah. Little brushy brush.
And he's trying to have a fairly serious conversation with you, and he's saying, "Oh, back in," and is enjoying these tummy rubs very greatly, which is common. He acts like he doesn't really enjoy tummy rubs, but he is a cat, after all.
He can't hide it.
Yeah, he purrs. He has a good time about it.
But if you give him too much, then rip your hand.
And yeah. I dealt with a Nothic once in another life. In a past life of dubious intentions. I don't really trust that little fellow you made a friend with down in the caverns.
How come you never go in depth with all these stories that you keep mentioning?
And he kind of laughs at you a little bit, and then rolls back over from being on his back and just looks up at you and goes, "Boy, I have a long history. I don't think you have enough time to hear all about it."
Oh, I've got all the time in the world right now.
Well, unfortunately, at this point, the door opens and in comes your roommate, Kurt. He's a tall human. He has black hair that's kind of shaved down. He's wearing a incredibly badly stained white shirt underneath his school robes. And flying around his head is a small little clockwork bird. And he looks at you, goes, and he's holding this bag of cracked corn kernels in his hand. It's just like a little sachet of it. And he goes, "Winsler, look at this. I finished it last night. Check it out." And he like holds up some little cracked corns for it and it falls down on his hand and takes a few bites. And he goes, it doesn't really digest it, but it does turn it into flour. And as the bird flies across the room, it sprinkles a fine dusting of flour everywhere, pretty much covering everything. Everything's covered in corn flour now.
I remember my parents having something that did something similar, but it was far larger and quite a lot of manual labor.
He looks like at you and goes, "Like a construct? Your parents? Really?"
I suppose you could call it that.
He's getting closer and closer and closer.
Although we
like
never,
sitting on your bed now.
Although we never used corn. We used wheat.
Oh. Wow. Winsler, you need to bring me with you to meet your parents when we go home in the winter. You need to bring me. I need to see this bigger version. I thought this was revolutionary, but evidently not. And he kind of seems a bit distraught at that realization, but he doesn't let it keep him down. And he stands back up off of your bed and goes, "Do you want it?"
Sure.
"Oh, great." And he throws you the bag of corn, and the little bird comes over and lands in it and starts chewing at it. All right. And that's it for you.
Can I gently pick up the bird and shuffle it behind my back and let Mr. Wiggles play with it?
Absolutely. He swats it very hard, and it kind of fumbles or goes tumbling across the bed, and you hear a light giggle come from him, and he jumps after it, swatting at it as it takes off into the air. It's probably about blue jay size for reference.
Another toy for the collection.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mira, you are sitting in the restricted section of the reliquary. Your new friend Jeed let you down here. No hassle. This is the shorter of the two stone golems which you met on your visit, and he's kind of sitting there at one of the tables, and he has these 3 large cases of frames, and he's just keeps showing you frames of pinned butterflies and moths that he's collected throughout his hundreds of years, and he's saying, "This one I found, it was hiding underneath the table over there," and he points at one of the tables, and it's just this dull gray moth. They're all exactly the same. They're just the kind of ones you would find in your closet. Nothing spectacular, but he's enraptured. And he then shows you another one. He goes, "This one I found upstairs eating one of the magical tomes listed on the bookshelves. Ah, what a beautiful little moth it is." And then kind of pushes it out of the way. And he goes, "What about you, Mira? What are your interests outside of breaking into the reliquary?"
Sorry about that. I'm in 4 different clubs. I'm very busy. So I'm in the book club with Winsler, and I do embroidery. I do foreign languages. I'm learning Halfling right now, but it's kind of hard. I'm in the music club, and I'm on the planning committee, but my favorite are the book club and the music club.
What does a planning committee do?
Well, we haven't done anything yet, but we're supposed to help the faculty plan events during the year. You know, dances and things like that. It's too early to do anything, but I'm really excited.
What is a dance?
You don't know what a dance is?
And he kind of looks up as the other larger stone golem kind of lumbers over, and he leans in very close and he goes, "No, I do not know what dance is."
Okay, well, you know what music is?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's when you, and I pull out my lyre, and I strum a couple notes, and as I'm strumming I say, it's when you listen to music, and you move, and I do a little jig, and you say, and a dance is when everybody gets together and listens to music, and we move, and it's fun.
You should make a dance here in the reliquary.
Yeah, are you guys the only people who work here?
You know that there's a few other stone golems upstairs.
Okay.
You never really talk to them, but they're a bit different than the ones down here. They don't really seem to have personalities or anything. These two seem to be kind of a bit older and more unique.
Do you think the other golems would want to get together and dance
No.
together?
They are boring. They have no desire, no wanderlust for the outside world. They are content to sit here in these metal halls and not wonder about what is beyond those great gates of ours, beyond the bounds of our metal prison.
Well,
And he gets a very stern look from the other golem, who seems to be putting away some magical items on the shelf.
well, we can invite them anyway. How about this? I can play my lyre. We can invite the golems even if they don't have fun, and I can decorate. I don't know how much we're allowed to decorate the restricted section, but, you know, we could put some little banners up and we could have a dance. I need to practice my lyre, so it'd be a great opportunity for me.
You don't know how a stone golem would really seem happy, but he seems to be happy that you would suggest that.
Nice.
And then, finally, integrity. You are in the evocation department. There's a large ovular field. It's the one with the stone stands that surround it. This is where your martial applications of magic class takes place every single morning. Or every other morning, I should say. Here with you is your roommate, Sylvie, Sylvalax, Mirundine, the White Dragonborn, a elf named Ira, a dwarf named Arior. You've met these people. You're familiar with them. You're not friends with them, really. And then there's upper students as well. Everyone kind of takes the martial applications of magic class together because there's so few of you. And it's before classes started, and you and Sylvie are just kind of warming up with some footwork drills, and she's trying to grill you about your new team, and she's asking questions like, so what are they and she seems very flustered and says, are they mischievous, or was that a one-off thing, running off into the and she stutters for a little bit and struggles to find the word she's looking for, and she goes, after the cat and getting detention. Is that going to be a thing?
No, that was a one-time thing. We were just looking for his cat.
She takes a large huff in and shakes or nods her head and goes, okay, yeah, okay, How are they? Good people, though?
They are good people. Mira is absolutely fun, and Winsler is very kind.
Oh, okay. That's good to hear then, I guess. And then in the background, you see A few of the other students, the professor's not here. You're completely unsupervised right now. A few of the other students are doing a bit of sparring, which is kind of not allowed. You could pretty easily hurt someone. And it seems to be an upperclassman, a human, who's tall. He has a large sword. They're dulled, so you're not gonna like cut someone open, but they can bruise very easily. And he's sparring against the white dragonborn, and he's very easily disarmed. And then he kind of looks around, notices that the two of you are looking at him, and he goes, "Hey, how about you come try it out?" And you see next to you Sylvie kind of bristles. What do you want to do?
I'm talking to my friend here.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, absolutely." And Sylvie kind of bristles and she goes, "Hey, shut up." And he just kind of like stares daggers at her. He's like, "I wasn't talking to you."
I'm going to stand in front and I'm going to be like, "Don't talk to her that way."
He's like, "I'm going to talk to her however I want to talk to her, unless you come over here and prove to me that I should listen to you."
Can I quietly and stealthily take out my glove, my mage glove?
It's
mage
a
hand?
spell.
Oh, he wouldn't notice that I cast it though.
Is it verbal or somatic? Can you check that for me? Is there a V or S next to it?
VRS.
There's a V and S?
Yes.
Okay, so that means you need to say something and make a little motion. So give me a stealth check to see if that's successful.
13.
13. Yeah, you summon this. It's invisible. You manage to whisper out the words in Draconic that are for this spell that you just learned a couple days ago. What would you like to do? He's kind of goading you on. You're standing in between him and Sylvie, who's getting more and more annoyed behind you.
I'm sort of going to use it to pull on his cloak a little bit, like, back.
Oh. It pulls on his cloak slightly, but it only has 10 pounds of pulling force, so nothing extreme, really.
But he notices it.
He definitely notices and goes, "Oh, so you're just gonna tease me with your little magic hand. Okay. And a few people around him kind of chuckle, like he's kind of hamming it up a bit.
All I'm asking is that you don't talk to her that way.
He ignores you completely. He's just chatting with his friends now.
Okay, wonderful. And then I'm gonna go talk to my friend again.
Absolutely. And that's the end of that. Wonderful little character moments, everybody. And now everyone get off your damn phones, because it's all three of us turn again.
What's on my phone?
Yeah, whatever, guys.
Coming back into reality.
Snap back to reality.
Reality, he says.
Are you saying that D&D is not real?
Back to realty.
We play a bunch of realtors in our campaign.
So
Yes,
the price,
I have +3 to upselling people on homes.
the price
And I
on that
have
lot
the,
seems a bit high. What if I buy it from a lower price? I need to roll some persuasion.
As the multi-class into dishonest realtor and skilled realtor,
you're scumbag
I have the fake flip home special ability where you can install new furniture and new wall paint that looks great on first glance but will fall apart within 6 months.
Oh, that sucks.
Okay. You all find yourselves at the entrance to the research archive. It is Sunday morning. It is far too early to be awake. Winsler, you left your room. Mm-hmm. Your roommate was still awake. He pulled an all-nighter as per usual. Mira, Alina, your roommate was sleeping in her very tiny little halfling bed. And Integrity, Sylvie was already awake and off doing her prayers for the morning. It's about 6 a.m. at this point. And you're at the entrance to the research archive. It is a large room that's kind of carved into the back wall of the cavern, within which Wildcliff sits. And there's these large ornate doors, and standing in front of them is this kind of plane, to put it like just descriptively. looking human woman wearing a crimson robe with a W emblazoned on it. She has kind of like shoulder length brown hair and is wearing small circular glasses and sitting there kind of sketching in a book. And the three of you turn up at pretty much the same time here. What would you like to do?
Hi, we're here for detention.
She looks up from the book and goes, "Oh, you must be... Oh, yes. Well, no one else really gets detention around here." And she stands up and goes, "I'm Ava Redding. It's a pleasure to meet you."
Pleasure to meet you too.
And she puts out a hand to shake your hands.
I shake it.
And she goes, "Your names are?"
I'm Integrity.
Pleasure to meet you, Integrity.
I'm Mira Marshall.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Marshall. And you, my good fellow?
He's like sleeping.
Yeah. She goes, "Oh, excuse me." And she kind of looks at you two for help, and she goes, "Is he okay?"
It's like the cartoons where there's just a bubble coming out of his nose.
It's really early for him. I think he's just...
Absolutely. She gives you a shake on the shoulder and goes, "Excuse me, hello? Sorry. I'm Ava Redding. It's a pleasure to meet you. You're here for detention, correct?"
Yeah.
Okay, and she puts out a hand to shake your hand.
Lazily shake hand.
And your name is?
I'm Winsler.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Winsler. If you'll just follow me. And she walks over to the doors and pulls out a large brass key and unlocks it. And inside you see it's an immense room. There's about 4 stories. There's one main story, and then there's kind of balconies which rim the outside edge of the room. It's this large square room that kind of curves up with the slope of the cavern. So as it goes up, it also goes technically backwards, and there's storage space or shelving up there as well. And all around are these little winged clockwork creatures or constructs that are flying around, putting books back on shelves and pushing around little carts. And she goes, "I'm just really happy that I finally have some organic help around." And as she says organic, 2 of these little constructs, which are pushing a wooden cart, and it's going squeak, 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 squeak as they push it behind her, give her some pretty intense side eye, but she ignores it as she brings you to the front desk. And she pulls out a couple of pins and goes, "All right, so while you're here for the day, I need you to wear these pins. They signify to the constructs that you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be. You're helping out today." And she hands you these little these pins that have like a little A on them. And they're made of brass. "So all I need you to do today is just help me with returns, because sometimes the constructs, they get a little distracted putting stuff away. Everything has to be very nice and tidy for everything. And they have the upper floors covered. I just need you to put stuff back here on the main floor. And that's pretty much it. Does that sound okay with everyone? I know this is detention, but I still want you guys to have fun, I guess. Is that good?"
Sounds great.
Sounds pretty simple.
Perfect.
Okay, just follow me this way to the returns room. And she leads you off to the left, very far ways, and you finally find a small wooden door that's in the side of a bookshelf, and it doesn't realistically feel like it should be able to go anywhere, but she pulls out the same big brass key and unlocks it, and inside is a very large, almost like a warehouse, with just shelves upon shelves upon shelves. And she goes, "This is the return room. There are carts over there." And she gestures towards these like rickety, squeaky carts that all of these constructs have been pushing around. She goes, "I would just personally load one up and get on going. If someone asks you where something is, I don't think you guys would know where it is. So just come tell them to see me. And that's pretty much it. Don't break anything. Okay? Okay. Have fun." And she leaves you in this giant warehouse room inside of a bookshelf. What would you like to do?
Are there any books?
Oh, Benjamin. There's thousands.
Time to investigate
There's-
them one by one.
There's- Oh God!
Read me the
There's-
title of each one.
There's scrolls and tomes and little journals and just slabs of stone. There's everything you could possibly want.
Everything.
Mhm.
We'll start one
But
by
your
one.
job isn't to go through stuff. Your job is to put stuff away
Oh, I
on
know.
the shelves.
We're delinquents. Do you think we're gonna do our job first and foremost?
Well, I know I am,
hope
because
so.
regardless, if I'm putting away stuff, it's still a chance for me to take a look at some things.
Okay, I'll let you guys all roll investigation to passively look through some stuff while you're putting it away. Well, it seems like you're doing work. So roll investigation, everyone.
8.
8.
8.
8 squad. 8.
What,
8.
what did you
8's
get,
across
Winsler?
the board.
Did you get 8 as well, Winsler?
No,
Oh.
What'd you
I have
get?
23.
Oh my gosh.
Just making us look like dumbasses around here.
What are y'all
So-
doing?
As you guys kind of push your cart out of the room, loaded with different, it's like when you get one of the carts at the grocery store and one of the wheels just keeps rotating.
Very
You know what
bad.
I mean? And you gotta push it around. You know enough about the library organizational system that it's difficult to put these away, but not impossible, right? Winsler, or sorry, I'll leave you for last.
Okay.
Integrity and Mira, you two both discover almost simultaneously a huge book that is just like, it is green leather binding. It's ripping in places. Some of the pages are just glued into the book itself.
Glued?
And it's just huge. It's probably like 10 inches thick. And on the front, it says alchemy. And it has a big exclamation mark.
Wow, I love the
For
exclamation mark.
teens.
And that's kind of the only notable book. That's the one that pops out to you two.
Alchemy.
Ooh, pretty.
Alchemy. Hey, you don't think that Ava's gonna mind if we take a couple looks before going back to work, right?
Oh, we can definitely look.
Let's do it.
You guys kind of stop at one of these tables, and two of the small constructs walk by, and you can hear them in little clicks go, and just like gesture towards you, and you hear these clicks, and like it kind of sounds like laughter. But you sit down at one of these tables and flip open this book together, and it's just dusty, and the pages are yellowed. Again, some of them are falling out. There's no table of contents, but the front page says, "Innovations of the 8th century," and it says this out loud.
Oh, like it speaks to us?
Yes,
Oh,
it
God.
speaks out loud, and it says in a very loud voice, "Innovations of the 8th century, alchemy through the ages, for people of all ages."
Wow.
Are the words also on the paper, or is it only like, is this like
The
an
words are
audiobook
also on
only?
the paper.
Can I just shush it a little? Like, shh, volume.
It goes, "Oh, sorry,
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
and it seems to be stuck in this loop of just very loud ums, even
I
though
turn
you
the
told it to be
page.
quiet. It goes, "In the beginning, there was just a lot of foolishness." And then it stops and goes, "Can you put me on the shelf now, please? This is more work than I've ever done in 200 years. Please,
you
God."
you don't have to say it out loud. We can just read your words. You don't have to do anything.
Thank you so much. And the voice stops. And yeah, it's a very dry children's book on alchemy.
Flipping through it really quickly, do we glean anything interesting from it?
There's a recipe, and I'm going to call it a recipe, for how to make a rainbow colored paste.
Ooh.
And the reagents are probably only 5 gold pieces for all of them. That seems like it would be a pretty fun afternoon.
Mira contemplates joining a baking club.
Okay. And that's what you two find in your little exploration.
Winsler.
Winsler.
I was gonna imagine that entire time the pages were just blank, and it was gonna be like Rom Tittle's diary, where the letters just kind of appear.
I like that you didn't even... Yeah.
Yeah.
A+ job. Don't reference that foul
What?
mission. Because then if we talk about it, people will be like, oh, this is like a shitty version of that. Anyways.
No, I don't think the book is evil. I think it's just a friend.
I think it
It's
just
a
uses
socially
the
anxious
same
little
kind
friend.
of font, you know?
Oh, the actual like typeface which the book is written in
Comic Sans.
is horrendous. Like just this
Hard to
weird,
read or just ugly?
very ugly. Like none of the like typically
So Comic Sans.
is a very Comic Sans-esque, yeah, in this bright green. Like the font itself is the same color green, like this slime green as the binding itself.
Oh, disgusting.
I'm picturing like when people make their first webpage on the internet when they're like 9 and they use Comic Sans and the bright font. It's just
Yeah.
the book equivalent of that.
Jesus Christ.
Winsler, you rolled a 23 on your investigation. While your two friends are goofing off, you find 2 scroll tubes, a small black-bound journal, and a fairly thick, fairly well-worn book. The 2 scrolls are a scroll of Dust Devil and a scroll of Locate Object.
Okay.
The small black leather-bound book is a Journal of Explorations of Divinity,
Ooh.
and the subtitle is Planar Expeditions. And the last book, the one that's very well used, is entitled The Expeditions of Fidan the Explorer.
Interesting.
Would you like to thumb through some of them?
I want to thumb through the Divinity book.
Ooh. Thumbing through to the very front page, you see that this is written by none other than Professor Austin, the head of the Divinity Department here at Wildcliff.
Ooh.
Ah, yes, the one I lied about.
The one you lied about to Jeed. And thumbing through it more, you see that it's kind of details of his personal exploration and development of the planar orrery here at Wildcliff, which has a metallic disc that is used to represent the physical space that the planes take up relative to one another. And that's only available to like the independent researchers and the higher level students who are specifically taking Divinity. It's not like a public thing for anyone to play around with. It's a very serious piece of equipment. But reading about it is very cool.
What's the other the black book?
That was the black book. The other one's the well-used, sorry. Did I get that backwards?
Yeah, the Divinity book is
I'm
the one
sorry.
that
The
we're reading,
Divinity
and then
book
you
is
said,
the little black one.
Yeah, I want to read the little black one.
That's the Divinity one. That's the one that I just
Is that not
described,
Vadon the Explorer's book?
Fidan the Explorer is the one that's very well used. I'm sorry.
You got that mixed up.
I'm sorry. I made a big mistake.
I want to read the Vadon the Explorer's book, please.
The Expeditions of Fidan the Explorer details there's a preface.
I think it's
There's a
preface.
There's a preface by the current head of the Conjuration Department, Mrs. Doss, who talks about how wonderful a student Fidan was during her time at Wildcliff, and goes on to state that as of the most recent publishing of the book, she's unfortunately passed away off on some archaeological expedition. And as you read through it, there's a lot about like she's the first person to see dragons in 200 years. She's the first one to go into the frontier far to the west in the 300 years. Like she's just a trailblazer, you know. And it's fairly thick. It doesn't look like the cover looks like it gets a lot of use. Like a lot of people pick it up and put it in their carts or bring it around in their bags, and kind of thumb through it. But most of the interior pages don't seem to be very heavily trafficked.
Okay, I'm going to put that one back. I am going to take the Explorations of Divinity book.
Okay.
And the 2 scrolls.
Absolutely.
They're mine now.
So, going around putting some of these books back in their place, eventually you come to a stairwell And it's kind of in the back left corner of the library. It's still early morning. It's about 8 a.m. You've been working for 2 hours now.
We had to be here at 6?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yikes.
You had to be here at 6 in the morning, and you have to stay here till tonight.
gross.
Detention.
Yeah.
So you find yourself in the back left corner of the library. You've never personally been back here. You've kind of... Most of the literature that you guys need is in the first, 5 meters upon entry of the library, just so to get you in the door and get you, thinking about, oh, maybe I want to come here and actually do stuff here. But back here in the back corner, you had a few things to put away. One of them was that Fadan the Explorer book. And the stairwell itself seems to be, there's a gate across it, and the gate is slightly ajar, as if it was not closed properly.
Ooh.
And it's a stairwell going up, I should say. What would you like to do? There's no one else around.
We're all there. right?
Including the clock things?
Including the little clockwork constructs, correct. And all 3 of you are here.
Up the stairs, into more trouble we go. Always in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Leading with his brave new heart is Winsler.
No.
He kind of... Oh, you're not leading? Well, you just suggested let's go up this
No, I
treacherous,
am leading.
weird-
I just said new.
You are? Oh, no, as in I'm not brave?
Like new brave heart. What the fuck does that
Oh,
mean?
well, you never led before. I'm sorry.
I've led a few times.
Okay, I apologize for... I'm sorry that I've insulted your character by saying that you have a brave heart.
Yeah,
he
he's
leads
not
with
brave
a very
at all.
weak, cowardly heart, trembling in his boots.
Okay, he's not that cowardice.
He leads us up the
Not that
stairs,
cowardly.
tears streaming down his cheeks as he walks forward.
And you guys, reach the 2nd floor of the library.
Ooh, so
Um,
mysterious.
But it's not one of the balconies. You've entered the 2nd floor, but it's kind of a private room. There's a single table in the room, and the walls are covered in books. On the table is a thick, black-bound leather book. Sitting at one of the chairs, on one of the chairs is like a knapsack that's open and has some school supplies in it. There's a bit of parchment scattered across the table, and then a pen, or a quill, I guess would be the proper term, not a pen. And then draped over the back of one of the chairs is a robe for Wildcliff, the same one that you guys wear. So it's a student's robe.
Oh, sounds like someone's probably still here.
But there's no one in the room, and there's no other doors.
If I go over to because there's some paper, and
There's a paper and then this large book sitting open.
if I sneak a little peek at the paper, do they have their name on it or anything cool, or
You see that.
I bet it's that Dragonborn nerd. I don't say that in character, but I just think it's probably that nerd.
Nerd.
Nerd. You see written here the name Delnus Wraithrin. Wraithrin?
How do you spell,
Wraithrin.
how do you
Delnus
spell that?
Wraithrin. Delnus is Delnys. Wraithrin is Raethran.
Delnus Wraithrin. Library boy.
Library nerd.
Exclamation mark.
And
My notes are non-judgmental.
Mira, you recognize that last name as the last name of the overseer of the musical applications of magic department. But it's not his first name. And he's also not a student, regardless. Walking over, peering at this, it's very well-made stationery, or parchment. Stationery. We're going to go with stationery. Parchment's a bit too Perry Hotter. It's very well made. It's kind of has a nice little trim around the edge. It's something that you wouldn't really write notes on. It's more of something you would mail. And beyond the date, which was written in ink on the top left, and the
Is it today's date?
No.
Oh.
It's the date from a week ago.
Weird that they would just leave their stuff here, but okay.
And there's nothing written. And the ink well, which is open, is kind of dried up, you see.
That's weird. They stopped writing like a week ago.
If it was magic ink, it wouldn't be dry. So this is some pretty piss poor quality ink.
Weird flex, but okay. I think this might be the kid of Professor Raythran. I'm assuming. I don't know. Why would someone just write something down and then leave their stuff here for a week?
Maybe they got
Seems
called away
weird.
to do something, or maybe they needed to go get food and forgot their stuff.
For their whole backpack for a whole week?
Yeah, that happens.
Well, where would they be carrying their school supplies? I
Maybe they
looked
were
like
borrowing
in the
them?
backpack.
Yeah, there's a bunch of textbooks. There's some like nibs for the end of the quill and some different like actual nib holders. Not the nibs like snacks.
I
Calm
was
down.
like, tasty snack.
Tasty
And then
snack.
textbooks, a few different notebooks, that kind of stuff. Just like school notebooks.
Is there any
That's
sign
All
of
of
so
it's
weird.
All of it's very cute. Like it has little rabbits on it.
Oh.
Any signs of foul play or nothing? Like it's like peaceful.
Are you a detective now? Roll investigation. All of you can roll investigation if you'd like.
No. That's a 4.
That's a 13.
I got 15.
13, 15, 4. Okay. Winsler and Integrity. Your eyes fall upon this book. That's
And
open.
then we die.
That's upon the table. It's
death book.
open. Probably about a quarter of the way. It's bound with black leather.
Necronomicon returns.
That was like some
The-
ASMR stuff for a second.
Yeah.
You just got real close.
The
Real close to that Necronomicon.
going to summon
yeah.
some
Sorry, you're gonna have to
all of
listen
this.
to that later.
I'm cutting all of this. I'm cutting all of this. I'm cutting it all.
As you
I don't want to
should.
listen to my friends do ASMR into my ears. Please,
Demon
thank you. Bye.
ASMR.
I'm good, thanks.
No ASMR, only ASMR.
Ha!
Ha, now you have to keep it because it was a funny joke.
It was a good joke. It was a very good joke. The book returning to the game. It's probably about a foot tall, like in height, not in like thickness. It's probably a foot tall by 3/4 of a foot. The actual thickness of the book is probably 1/4 of a foot thick. It's open about halfway. The words on the page, as you two look over it, they seem to shift as you read them. Nothing in a language you understand, or if there is, it's just a single word here and there. Nothing permanent. It's constantly shifting. Mira, you look at the book and it kind of fascinates you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. 11 plus 0. 11.
Okay. It fascinates you, but it doesn't. Nothing more. There's no pull as much as you could understand if someone was pulled into it. And then you all hear this very loud, almost like a heartbeat, but a lot louder, emanating from it. And the actual book on the table starts to slowly lift up and fall down, and lift up and fall down in rhythm with the heartbeats. And then all of a sudden, one of these small winged constructs flies out of the pages and lands in against the wall and kind of rolls around in the ground and looks up at you, and then just takes off sprinting.
Wait.
down the stairs.
Come back.
It stops like at the bottom of the stairs and looks at you, and it is not coming back up the stairs. It's just looking at you from the base of the stairs now.
How long were
Poltergeist!
you inside the book?
It clicks at you a couple times and then runs off.
I don't know what that means.
The book is still beating like a heart, and it's kind of shaking on the desk at this point.
Can I try and hold on to it to make it stop shaking?
Absolutely. Make a strengths check.
Well, this is where I get suplexed by a book. That's a 13.
13. You manage to push it down against the table, like push on the actual pages and push it against the table. And now the entire table is just shaking and being like pushed against the floor, making a big, like, you know that sound when a chair gets pulled across like a wooden floor? It's that, but a bit louder.
Guys, I made it worse.
The entire table.
Okay. So stuff is in the book. Do you guys think maybe that's what happened to Delnis a week ago and just nobody noticed? Because that also seems super weird.
Nah, couldn't be.
Something's in there.
I try to talk to it.
Hello? Oh,
There you go.
no, you do it.
Hello? And I sort of knock on the book.
You hear your voice echo as if there's a cavity inside of the book.
Guys, it's Barney's big bag.
What?
What are you? What?
What?
What was that?
Where did that
What
come
is
from?
Barney's big bag?
Yeah, let's just take a leap of faith in the Barney's big bag. Let's go.
What the heck is that?
New group chat name. / mystical object.
Never mind. Cut that out.
It's a bag of holding, but twice as good.
The thumping continues and it grows in intensity. And you start to hear this heartbeat sound once more. Da-dunt, da-dunt, da-dunt. And it thumps a lot more than twice as it speeds up rapidly. Winsler, you're pushing down on the book. Am I to understand that correctly?
Yes.
Your hands start to sink into it.
Well,
About up to your elbows before your friends notice. And it continues almost at the shoulder now.
I'm gonna wrap my arms around him to try to stop him from being sucked in.
Okay, make a strength check. Winsler, you're about... it's trying to get around your head at this point.
of course it is.
I got a 14.
14. You pull Winsler away from the table and you're holding him physically in the air now, and the book consumes his top half.
Ah! Wait, what?
Have I killed him?
And, like, he's still whole, like, he's not bleeding out or anything, don't worry. But, like, the book is... It's like his legs are sticking out of the book and you're holding him around the legs. And it continues to go down and it starts to consume your hands, Mira.
Oh boy.
Integrity, you see your two
I
friends being
understand
eaten
now.
by a book.
So if anyone touches the book consumes them. Like, anywhere in the book. Or
Winsler's
just on
legs
the
are
page.
completely gone, and the book is up to Mira's elbow at this point. Yes, that is how the book works.
Just on the page, but not the book itself.
Mm-mm.
Because I can try...
It's up to her shoulder.
I'm going to try and pull the book from them.
Describe that, please.
Like, so Mira...
I don't want to be unfair to you.
So Mira's
So
legs are
please
out,
describe
right?
it. Mira's legs, it's up to her shoulder
Up
at
to
this
her
point.
shoulder.
It's trying to get past that.
So while she's, like, trying to pull Winsler from the inside, I'm going to go from the behind of the book, and I'm going to pull the book
Where are your hands?
to the side of it. So the book's open,
Yes.
and they're halfway through it, or Winsler's fully in there, and
Winsler's in there.
so I'm going to, like, hold the book by the top and the bottom part of it.
Like the actual cover.
Yes, like that.
Oh, I
like
understand.
that. And I'm, like, trying to pull it.
Mm-hmm. Your fingers, you feel, go through the page as it slams shut on Mira's upper half, and she is gone. And so are like the tips of your fingers, and this book is just sitting on the floor.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
There's it's not like there's no wound. It's just like the skin just wrapped over where your fingertips once were.
But I can still feel my
Fingertips? You still feel your fingertips grabbing onto paper, yes.
But it's still there. Like, you can't see it, but it's still
You
there.
can't see
or
it,
is it
but
like a phantom limb
you-
almost?
You feel them, but they don't feel like they're in midair. They feel like you don't feel like you're holding your hands up. You feel like they're still touching paper.
Oh. So I'm going to, I guess, reopen the book because all my friends are gone.
I mean, you could just move on with your life at this point, you know? Like, some friends are keepers, some aren't, you know? Some get swallowed by a book.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
We've all had friends that were swallowed by books.
So you open the book back up?
Yes.
Screams.
It has the same shifting appearance that it had before, and this heartbeat sound is coming from it very rapidly as it's like shaking in your hands.
I'm going to leave one of my daggers on the ground, just like drop it in case I get consumed by it.
Okay.
And I guess
what are you doing?
I guess
you're just gonna.
I just go in.
You just like put it on your head?
Yes.
Absolutely. So you just put this book on your head, and instantaneously, as the same way Winsler and Mira felt, you feel a strong pop in your ears as if you just came down from a higher elevation, and you are on a cold tile floor. The floor is white tile. All around you are shelves, metal shelves covered in glass jars filled with liquid and body parts. Up where the roof should be, you see just a black sky with a red sun shining directly overhead, but it's dark here. It's not lighting anything up. And the three of you are here. There's no book. You have everything that you had before. You're not missing your fingertips anymore. You're not missing your upper half. You're whole.
Or is there like echo? Is it a room or is it unknown?
It seems to be a vast room, yes. And there's just shelves after shelf after shelf, and they're all filled with these jars of liquid, and there's just arms or eyes or rats or plants.
What is it with like dismembered body parts and organs all of a sudden? I mean, first there was that giant heart in the jar, and now there's other body parts in jars.
We have to find all the body parts in the school and like Voltron them together to create like a Frankenstein being, and then we win the
ultimate
campaign.
Flesh golem.
Yeah.
There will be no Voltron in this campaign.
Oh, right. Sorry. Voltron.
And then, yeah, do you guys want to do anything?
Yell.
You yell at the top of your lungs and hear it.
Hello!
You hear it echo off seemingly forever.
Dullness? Anyone?
I want to quickly pull out the Explorations of Divinity book and see if I can flip through it and see if there's anything about, like, weird metal rooms with a red sun.
Make a... If you're trying to flip through it quickly... Oh, gosh. Sleight of hand? Intelligence to read it fast? Your choice. That's your choices. Intelligence to read it very fast and actually understand what you're reading, or sleight of hand to just flip through it as fast as possible.
I ain't reading shit. That's a 1.
Okay. You...
What's up? I'm Winsler. I'm 19 and I never learned how to read.
17!
But it's a vine, though.
Yeah, Ben, God.
Yeah, I don't... I'm not hip with the vines, you know.
You kind of are thrown off by this sudden appearance in this alternate place. This, it feels almost like a laboratory with the tile and the metal shelving and the body parts. Something, I don't know, dark or something. But you do cut your finger open, flipping through those pages.
This is just the worst day ever.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There seems to be no pressing urgency. Just the fact that you were eaten by a book. So,
Consumed
at least you got
by
that.
knowledge.
Just one of those days, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
Can we see like a portal or anything?
No.
How high up is the ceiling sky thing?
The sky is where the sky would be. Like if you were outside in a field and you looked up and there was just sky everywhere, that's what it's like. But you see walls to this room.
But how high up do the walls go, though?
10 feet.
And then it's 10 feet and then just a sky?
Mm-hmm. It's like someone ripped the ceiling and roof off of a building.
Okay, how high up do the shelves go?
10 feet.
Can I try to climb one and try to see what's above the walls?
Make a dexterity check, please, to climb. Or you could do athletics, you could do acrobatics. If you flavor it as acrobatics, I'll allow that.
I climb, but I do a flip. No. I'll just... Even though it would be mechanically better to do acrobatics, I don't think I can justify it. I'll do athletics.
Okay.
That is 12.
12. You climb up to the top and you look out and you just see room upon room upon room of just shelves.
Are there other people in the rooms or anything?
You don't have a good enough angle to be able to see if there's other people, I would say, but you do see just shelf upon shelf upon shelf of jars. And far to the north, you see a raised room, and you can't see inside of it, but you see stairs leading towards it.
There's something way over north. It's just rooms and rooms and rooms, but there's something higher up. Maybe we can, get to it if we keep following there?
I think we should do it. There's absolutely no way out here.
It's just jars.
Creepy jars.
Super, super creepy jars.
I guess there's only one way to find out.
Northwards?
Winsler, you cut your finger.
Yeah.
You and Integrity are watching your friend Mira climb up, and you're like, wow, I could never do such a feat, such as climb that shelf. With your back turned, you hear, would a gushing noise be too non-descriptive? Like kind of a wet slapping sound across the floor.
Ew.
Like if someone slapping fish on the ground?
Almost like someone slapping fish on the
They
ground.
do a slapping fish on the
That's
ground.
so descriptive.
Yeah,
Like a waste of fish.
And you and Integrity turn as Mira's climbing back down the shelf to see a plethora of disembodied arms crawling their way towards you.
No thanks.
And that's where we're going to end the episode.
With horror.
Next time on Trials and Trebuchets, let's get murdered by some disembodied limbs.
Ben, can you do our outro?
What do I need to do for the outro, homie? If you enjoyed this episode and the rest of our podcast, please check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Trials and Trebs. Additionally, if you'd like to, please leave a review and tell your friends about us. It'll really help us out. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.